So, greetings fellow captains and welcome back to another episode of World of Warships Legends with the Hive Hand. And today we're going over the patch notes, and no, it's not clickbait. The Missouri is coming. I will get to the details, but I'm going to put it in the title because I'm pretty sure that that's going to get people interested in the video. But it's not clickbait, it's true, 100%. So, we're going to go over the patch notes in a bit more detail. If you don't want the long-winded me waffling about every single little detail that I can pick out in the patch notes, go watch the TLDR version that will also be released at the same time. But this is for people who really want to get into the nitty-gritty of it. So, scheduled maintenance on the 1st of February. This update will run for 5 weeks, and the next one will actually release on a Tuesday, not a Monday, on the 9th of March. So, airstrike event. Yes, carriers are coming. So, the test event is going to come over 4 weeks. There's going to be the first 2 weeks and then a follow-up 2 weeks. So, you're going to be able to try out the Japanese carriers Hosho and Ryujo, Tier 3 and Tier 5 respectively, and as well as their American counterparts, the Langley and a Ranger. To command the new ships, you will get help of Ernest King for the US flat top and a Tamagotchi. I was so tempted to call it Tamagotchi for the Japanese. You'll find yourself behind the helm of one of the characters. One of the carriers. You'll first have to win a couple of battles in the game mode, playing as a non-carrier. So we understand most of you will be interested in playing carriers rather than against them. Therefore, airstrike mode has bots added to fill the battles, considering that only one carrier is allowed per side. Another important point is that we allow our volunteers a few randomly selected players to get carriers right away, just battle before, just so there's people to fill up the battles, so they've got carriers in the first few, and allow them to collect more data. We understand that there's a bit more experience. We understand that they will have a bit more experience with the ship types at the moment of release, but that curve will flatten within the first week. So, I don't know, they're making it sound like it's going to be a bit harder to get carriers. But anyway, we hope you get enough of a first look to give us ample feedback, and we plan to bring carriers back in to the mainstream several updates after this event. So, it's going to be a couple of months before they get fully released. So, some important things to note about carriers. You can only control one entity on the screen at a time. So once your squadron's in the air, you lose control of your carrier. You're going to have two types of squadrons available: torpedo bombers and dive bombers. If you need that explaining to you, torpedo bombers drop torpedoes, and dive bombers drop HE bombs that can set fires and incapacitate modules, as well as dealing raw damage themselves. The AA suits of the ship types will have no changes for the purpose of this test. We're not enabling the display of the AA stats yet either, considering the limited power of carriers in their current form, as well as the limitations of one per team. We're expecting that the current AA suits will be strong enough to deal with the carriers, even without consumables or rebalancing. Let's not forget, this is indeed a test event, so we need as much data as we can. AA guns on other ships begin to fire as soon as the aircraft is within proximity. They do not affect your firing of your ship's detectability. However, the enemy will see where the AA fire is coming from. Catapult fighters for cruisers and battleships will be changed to make them less of a passive spotting satellite and more of a countermeasure against carrier attacks. For most cruisers, the cooldown for catapult fighters will be reduced from 180 to 80 seconds, while the time the plane stays in the air has been reduced from 360 to 60 seconds. So that's a big change with the fighters. For battleships, the cooldown has been reduced the same from 180 to 80, whilst the planes will stay airborne for 90 seconds instead of 360. So now they'll actually last longer on battleships. There are no service costs for carriers in the airstrike mode, although other ships will retain their regular service cost. Control-wise, hitting enemy ships with your torpedoes and bombs is going to be the most difficult aspect of the gameplay, so don't be hard on yourself. If you miss the first few drops, it's just like shells. You've got to learn how to lead them. You're not going to get auto-aim like you will with main guns, and you also need to understand where your window of opportunity is to launch your attacks. You'll be able to use ships of up to tier 4 when playing against tier 3 carriers, and up to tier 6 when playing against the tier 5 carriers. British heavy cruisers are coming. Yes, that's right. A brand new line of ships entering in the classic early access mode. So it'll be crates to get the tier 4, 5 and 6. And when the update finishes, we'll get access to the 7 and access to the tech tree if we haven't already had them through crates. So the ballistic trajectories will be essentially the same as the light cruisers, but of course you're now going to have the option for HE, and they're going to do a lot more damage. They're also going to have better repair party consumables, able to restore more citadel damage than any other nation, and you'll have the sonar and single fire torpedoes. But the big thing is speed. Your speed and maneuverability is going to take a bit of a hit, so it's going to be a lot more like playing chess. You're going to have to be extremely careful in the British heavy cruisers. So same thing as usual, early access, you get them through crates. Unusual, the higher tier ship, the lower the chance you will of getting her, and big crates offer a better chance. While there is no tier 7 Albemarle available through the early access, the tier 5 ship London is also among the ships that may drop in the reward. So you can check out the drop chances at worldofwarships.com /World of Warships WOWSlegends.com/containers before making any purchasing decisions. Amongst the drops, the containers, you can get Union Jack camos, which you can convert into the permanent versions for any of your ships, including the non-British ones if you want to be weird. So the ships available, tier 4 is going to be HMS Hawkins, tier 5 HMS Devonshire, quite famous for being in the battle against the Tirpitz, and the tier 6 is going to be HMS Surrey. There is also, so the campaign, we are going to get the German battle cruiser Siegfried. It is going to appear in the game as a cruiser, so whereas, okay, technically I think you could argue the Scharnhorst is a battle cruiser, but that's been tiered up, that's been put into the battleship category. This battle cruiser is going to go into the cruiser category. Very capable in a multitude of situations thanks to a strong AP, torpedoes and sonar. The ship has found a home at tier 7 amongst the top competitors, and she will be ready to take on all comers. Look forward to seeing how it handles. With the previous campaign, we are introducing a currency that you'll learn once you're done with the main campaign from this update onwards, and it is steel. You'll be able to earn it after reaching the final milestone of the campaign, no matter whether you have Admiralty backing or not. However, if you purchase the campaign prior to the last week, you will only be able to get more steel from daily and weekly missions. Steel will become an increasingly useful resource as we add ships and other rewards to exchange it. The most exciting offer right away is probably going to be, and here's where the clickbait is, USS Missouri. It will take Seasons Captains several updates to gather enough steel to obtain her. This campaign in particular will allow you to amass 1,250 units of steel providing that you buy it outright on day 1. Otherwise, if you finish it on the first day of week 5, you'll be able to count up to about 250. Other than the Missouri, various other goods can be exchanged for steel, starting with commander items. More steel is always going to be available either from entering arena or ranked, rather than just from campaigns. So the usual array of goodies for campaigns, for the campaign. So without the Admiralty backing, 45 common boosters, 10 Union Jack camos, 15 Type 1, Type 2 and Type 3 camos, 250,000 Commander XP, 300,000 credits, 3,500 Global XP, 12 promotion orders, an insignia, a commendation, 7 days of premium time, 250 doubloons, so you can actually gain doubloons without paying for doubloons, which is always nice. 5 Royal Navy cruiser crates, 1 big Royal Navy cruiser crate, a German commander crate, a Grade 1 Victorian permanent camouflage for the Tier 4 heavy cruiser Hawkins, 1 patch background, 1 patch symbol. But if you decide to take the Admiralty back in as well, for that ever-present 2,500 doubloons, you'll get an additional 40 rare boosters, 25 epic boosters, 20 Union Jack camouflages, 25 Type 1, Type 2 and Type 3 camos, 125 Commander XP, 1.2 million credits, 16,000 Global XP, 19 promotion orders, 3 insignias, 3 commendations, 500 doubloons, 10 Royal Navy cruiser crates, another 4 big Royal Navy cruiser crates, Grade 1 Victorian permanent camouflage for the British Tier 5 heavy cruiser Devonshire, and also the Tier 7 German cruiser Siegfried, giving a total value of about 69,355 doubloons. So yes, apologies for this, it's a long one. There is a new game mode, Arena. So Arena is going to be something mostly different. It's going to be a game mode, and it's a seasonal team deathmatch event which features 4 teams of 3 ships, and you'll get to show off your skills playing Tier 5 and making yourself known across the Legends community by climbing that ladder. I don't agree with this, so I'm gonna point a couple of things out as we go through this. So the first iteration of the ladder is going to count all of your ship's XP, while with all possible boosters applied. So those with who use the most boosters will probably come out on top. However, we will try different methods, including unaffected by boosters and premium later on. Please consider this is a test season of this game mode, and we plan to use other metrics in the future, not necessarily boostable by anything other than the number of games played. The biggest reward for the season in the top 1% is 2,500 units of steel, which you can stockpile and save up for the Missouri or spend on other goods. So, basic rules. Arena battles are going to be available from the 15th to the 9th of March. There are 4 teams on the map, each comprising of 3 Tier 5 ships. If the team's ships are the last to stay afloat, then that team wins, and each player on their team gets a 30% XP bonus for the match. Matchmaker will try to mirror ship type of all 4 teams, but will allow for mirrored compositions after a particular time. There are no ships limitations per division. However, less diverse teams, the longer it's going to take you to find a match. So if you go out in 3 battleships, 3 destroyers, or 3 cruisers, you're going to be held up. You're going to be slowing yourself down. There's only one key area in the map, which is in the very centre. But this mode will introduce friendly fire. If you hit an ally, 33% of the damage will be applied to their ship. except for ramming. Ramming's not affected. Players who fire on their allies will not receive any XP for the battle, so we ask you to be very careful, especially with torpedoes. We understand that players must damage their allies by mistakes, but serial griefers will be dealt with accordingly. If there are any ships from more than one team still afloat at the end, said match will be considered a draw, and no one will receive the bonuses. The rewards will be credited at the end of the season, and the exact rewards you receive will depend on your standing on the ladder the moment the season ends. There are 6 tiers of rewards, which depend on the percentile of the ladder you end up occupying. So, first of all, you're going to get participation trophies. So just play a match. You'll get 10 promotion orders, 3 basic crates, 50,000 credits. The top 90% will get 20 promotion orders, 2 Royal Navy crates, and 30,000 Commander XP. The top 50%, 25 promotion orders, 2 Winter Big Crates, 20,000 Global XP. Top 25 will receive an insignia, 2 Big Royal Navy Cruiser Crates, and 500 paint. For the top 10, 2 commendations, 2 Commander Crates, and 1,000 doubloons. And the very pinnacle, the top 1%, will have the Season 1 Champion Flag, 2 Lunar New Year crates, and 2,500 steel. Okay, so one thing bugs me about this mode straight away, and I'm just going to get it out there and get it off my conscience. Basically, it's all about who plays the most to win. Obviously, you get a bonus for winning, you get a bonus for playing well. You get a bonus if you got premium account. You'll get more bonuses if you're using XP flags. But essentially, this isn't a game mode of skill. This is a game mode of attrition. So if you really want that 2,500 steel, book yourself some time off. Or if you've been unfortunate enough in the current situation to not be employed at the moment, then just play it. You're going to get in the top 1%. This annoys me. It really does. Maybe they should do an average XP, but you've got to play an X amount of games to achieve it. Maybe. I don't know. But just purely going on how much XP you have racked up over time is definitely not something that I agree with, because the top 1% of players might not necessarily have the time to get into the top 1% of players. And I think on Facebook it's going to create some issues with, yeah, look at me, I'm in the top 1%, and then they're just going to turn around and go, oh yeah, well, it's just because you haven't got a job. And it could become quite toxic. So keep that in mind. And if any of my followers and subscribers do decide to act like that and be toxic and just go, it's just because you haven't got a job, don't be a dick. Just want to get that out there. You know, it's situational, it's the game mode, it is what it is. Right, okay, so there are some other new ships. The Lunar New Year content. So there's going to be bundles, I believe. Let me just check. They will be available in the premium store on the 12th of February, and we'll announce an end date for the sale separately. So you will be able to buy both the Southern and Eastern Dragon. These are visually different variants of the Tier 6 cruiser Mayoko with premium bonuses applied. The stats are completely unchanged. They are Mayokos, but they've just got fancy camos and fancy names. Lunar New Year crates will contain goods such as Air Dragon and Fire Dragon disposable camos. The Ox Patch and similar flags will also be available in one of the bundles. There's going to be some balance changes. Some of these I agree with. Some of them not so much. Ultimately, you guys are the ones that need to judge. So the Cheshire is getting a rudder shift decrease from 13.76 to 11.76. So 2 seconds off its rudder shift, making it a bit more manoeuvrable. Its main battery reload is getting reduced from 17 to 16 seconds. Honestly, I think that's still too long. I think it needs to be 13. But a big change is going to be the repair party. Now it restores the same amount of hit points, but over 9.3 seconds instead of 27. So the repair, it's going to be the same amount you're going to get back. It's just going to be 3 times faster. The Cossack is having half a second taken off its main battery reload, and its torpedo time reduces from 96 to 72 seconds. The Charlemagne, the unloved child of World of Warships, is having a main battery reload buff from 13 down to 12 seconds, but its extremity armor improves from 16 to 25, so it will now be able to bounce some things. Wargaming's favourite ship to be buffed, the most buffed ship in the game, is getting buffed again. It is, of course, HMS Vanguard. HP restored to the Citadel by the repair party will increase from 16 to 25%. Shell grouping will be improved by 2.6%. So it's only a slight buff, but it's still a buff. And it also gets the repair party modifier, much like the Cheshire, where now it restores the same amount of HP, but over 10 seconds instead of 28. This one, completely needed, 100%. The Duke of York will now get 2 sonar charges instead of 1 as a base. So, yeah, I agree with that. That's much needed. The Fight Fire with Fire skill now works if damage control party is either on cooldown or depleted. Previously, the skill could only be activated when the consumable charges were depleted. Enhanced secondary targeting consumable available on battleships now has 3 charges by default instead of 2, and its cooldown has been lowered to 160 seconds instead of 180 seconds. And continuing the tradition of hiding bonus codes in the patch notes, if you've made it this far, 20 odd minutes into the video, I will pop it up on the screen. S3FE SP75W. That is, of course, going to be the bonus codes. So log into World of Warships Legends on your computer or on your phone, put in your details, tap in the code, and you will receive 12 hunter camouflages free of charge. Some other miscellaneous improvements going on. Voice chat now works between any platform that Legends is available on. Previously, Xbox Series X and S players could not communicate with PlayStation players. That has now been resolved. Legendary rental ships will be removed, and any XP would move to the tier 1 ship of their nation, and any modifications will be placed in your inventory to be used again. Gunshots have received improved visual effects. The barrel action, we'll be using that for some videos, no doubt. Azurilane Fuso, Azurilane Queen Elizabeth, Azurilane Scharnhorst commanders have all received the Fight Fire with Fire legendary skill, and the following ships can now be outfitted with historical camouflages that can be created in the load-up menu for 75 paint. Please note that they will be the lowest versions and will need to be upgraded, but you will be able to put the historical camos on free of charge for Fuso, Aoba, Fabuki, New York, New Mexico, Pensacola, Farragut, and Mahan. A couple of bug fixes, not many. Players sometimes encounter turning HDR off and then back on again when accepting division invites. Not going to happen anymore. The battle mode screen now displays the battle results screen correctly. Previously, it always showed as a domination match, and the up command no longer sticks in the menu after a battle is over. So yeah, 25 minutes later. Well done, and congratulations for making it to the end. I do hope you enjoyed. I hope you found this in-depth look into the patch notes useful. Any questions, slap them in the comments below. I do make an effort to read as many comments as possible and respond to as many comments as possible. And on that note, before this hits 26 minutes, until next time, take care.